All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Play to Win Mindset Strategies for Achieving Success. We're back again. I'm glad I got a special guest with me. I'm Jared, the creator, founder of Mad Sports Management. I got my boy Ryan McClendon with me, former teammate, colleague, business partner, brother for life, man. We've been through a lot with my guy, played community college baseball or JUCO baseball with my boy. We grinded it out through JUCO. We both ended up going to a four-year university. Made it out of JUCO. Still playing. Well, no, we're not still playing, but I'm still coaching. He's still grinding, still building, still growing. Still a leader. So again, my boy Ryan McClendy. We can go. We could talk. I could talk all day about my boy, but I'm gonna let him give a little bit about himself, and we'll jump into it. So thanks for joining, Ryan.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. I mean, everything that you're doing with the community and the kids, it's just been really like inspiring, and it helps me stay on top of what I'm doing. Well, yeah, my name is Ryan. We played baseball back in Alabama Southern in the good old days. I was actually an outfielder first baseman that transferred in. Met Jared back in what was it 20, 20
15,
2016
2016.
2016 2016. I transitioned from JUCO in Florida to Alabama Southern. Didn't know anybody, but I knew what my goals were at the time, and so I got to meet somebody who's like-minded to help me keep straight. So I currently live in Fort Myers, Florida. I work as an operations manager at Amazon at a delivery station. I help get the packages from Amazon to your front door. So you're welcome, everybody. No, I'm just playing.
Within a day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I'm married. I have a beautiful wife, Dalia, and a nice new baby girl. She's 15 months. Her name's Layla. She's changed my life tremendously. But yeah.
Oh man, well, thanks again for joining me, man. I'm sure we'll have some really good conversation, and I know you're an intelligent person. We've always shared ideas, always shared dreams, goals, aspirations, and again, it was a mutual feeling. You kept me motivated, inspired as well. Just seeing someone, minority that comes from Atlanta, but just, still driven, still grinding to make a better future for yourself. So again, the feeling was mutual. All
Yeah.
right, so we'll go ahead and jump into it. Again, this platform is for anyone looking for motivation, inspiration. We're really reaching out to youth players, youth athletes, but it could be anybody. Business people, entrepreneurs. Whatever it is, anybody looking for that motivation or inspiration to continue their growth or continue on their journey or whatever journey it is that you're on. All
Hmm.
right, so we'll jump into it. So we'll start with some success stories. Both of us played together. Again, we went to a four-year university, got a chance to compete at that level, get some good experience there. So share with me some of your success stories. Whether it be college, high school, or within that success story, you can even mention some challenges that you had to overcome or that you had to face along the way, and give us some good stories.
Okay, yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, my whole life I played baseball. Baseball was everything. Travel ball, like high school, just baseball was the goal, end all, be all. But I was luckily to be smart, and my parents drilled into me to make sure I get my education and have some type of plan and goal set. I listened to them halfway because I still was focused on baseball. I'm like baseball, 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 baseball. But then I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna be just like anybody else. I'm still gonna take this seriously and go get my degree and whatever. So I remember when I was freshman, my dad and uncle, they're very big on setting goals and knowing exactly what your future is going to look like. And I always like to one up somebody. And my dad was the first person to ever get a college degree in his family. He was the first person to graduate high school, and then got his degree. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be better than you. I'm gonna get my master's. And
Mhm.
I said that when I was a little kid, and I just always had that in my back of my mindset. And so once I was playing baseball and things starting to happen, I'm like, hey, I think I can still do that thing, that goal that I set years ago, and that was just in my back of my mindset. So because of baseball, I was able to get my master's, and I am extremely blessed. But it was a lot of bumps in the road in
Wow.
that process, and that wasn't like the plan A. That was probably plan E,
Mhm.
but it happened, and I'm so glad it did. Like a huge obstacle that I had. Being that I'm from Georgia, we had this thing called the Hope Scholarship. And if you have over I believe it's a 3.3 GPA, you'll get partial of your tuition paid. And if you had like over a 3.7, you'll get your full tuition paid. And I had that, I think I had like a 3.4, 3.5. And so I had a lot of my school paid, and then baseball paid the rest. And I redshirted my freshman year in JUCO, and because of that, I basically my senior year on the field, I was already graduating that semester, and so unfortunately, my coach called me August 1st. I remember this, and he says, "Hey Ryan, the Hope Scholarship won't be giving you any more money. You have to come up with $5,000 by August 3rd, or you cannot play base your senior year."
Wow.
And I was crushed. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have $5,000. My mom didn't have $5,000. I didn't have a lot of things, but I knew one person who I could go to, my uncle,
Yeah.
and he had some money. I knew I was like, all right, I can trust him. I go to him. Hey, uncle, I'm in a predicament. I'm not gonna be able to finish school. I'm not gonna be able to do anything if I don't have $5,000 in next couple of days. Um, he looked at me, and he always has a lesson or some type of thing to
Hmm.
teach me in a situation.
Got
He's
to.
like, all right, I'm gonna teach you a lesson right here. I'm not gonna give you 5,000. I could give it to you. If you fall short, maybe I'll think about it. But what I want you to do right now is to write down 50 people in your family that you trust, that you think that could give you $50. 50 people, $50.
Mhm.
And so um, what I did, I just wrote everybody down, and and I really like call everybody, and it was gut wrenching. I did not want to do it. I'm a prideful person. I didn't want to. I don't even ask for money. I know there was times when me and Jared didn't have nothing, and I like and I'm still not asking for it, but like I had to then go and call my family members, still people that I'm like close with, that I think that they would give me whatever. I still had to do it, and I couldn't do it. I just sucked it up and I started calling. And what I realized is all the people that wanted me to succeed, to hit those goals, that believed in me, they were in my corner, and they gave me more than like some people gave me 100, some people gave me 1,000. I mean, some people just was just there to help. But then I also found out the people who were not in my corner, who were the people that wouldn't even give you $50. Like
Right.
$50 isn't that much sometimes, and like, hey, I just need $50 just to stay in school. That's if somebody came up to you right now, Jared, I bet you would give them like 500. You're like, hey, stay in school, do whatever. But I couldn't get everybody to do it, and it was so eye opening, and I ended up getting that $5,000 within I think like 12 hours. Like it was like beep 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 beep, my phone blowing up, people sending me money, just
Yeah.
making sure that I was invested in. It taught me a good lesson about who's in your corner,
Mhm.
and not being afraid to ask for help. That's one thing. So that's one obstacle that helped me get to the success that I am right now. And that's one thing that I really believe that a lot of people do not do enough of, is asking for help, and then having the right people in their corner. They have the wrong people in their corner that will blow sunshine up their butt and say that you have this, you have that, but you really don't have the people in your corner. And the people that helped me out, they're still in my life. The people that didn't, they're pushed a little bit to the side because I have focus and I have goals that I have to set. And if you're not going to be helping me get to my goals, then I'll pray for you, but you're not. I can't have you taking the time, my precious time. You know what I
So
mean?
wait,
Yeah, yeah.
that was a good story, man, and I was inspired. And then to kind of piggyback off of that, I definitely gotta share my success story. I know you mentioned kind of things happen the way they're supposed to, or at the right time. So to
Mhm.
kind of rewind a little bit, like I said, we played baseball together. I ended up going to Nickel State University. Played there my junior year and senior year. I had a decent couple years. Not good enough to get drafted, but I definitely, that was one of my goals, or definitely that was my goal to play at the next level. So whenever my senior year ended, things weren't looking like it was headed that way. So again, like you said, I came to a halt, and I'm like, man, like what do I do now? So
Mhm.
I had some guidance from my family. They're big on education, big on making sure you continue forward. Even if sports don't work out. So uh, I, like you said, started working on my master's degree. Got it in
Mhm.
sports management. I'm like, okay, if I want to continue playing, or as a player, I'll continue as a manager or in the front office or somewhere around sports, because like you mentioned, sports or baseball is my passion. So it's definitely something that I wanted to continue to be around.
Mhm.
And so I was working on my master's. It's what, 2019, 2020. And of course, the infamous COVID came around. And I'm like, man, like, okay, I'm about to graduate with my degree. Here I'm, planning to go into, tournament directing, athletic director, or something like that. And then now everything is shut down, and
Mhm.
now I'm stuck. I'm like, man, like what do I do? Like I spent all this time studying, trying to get my master's degree, which is
Mhm.
supposed to open up a lot of doors for you. And then now I don't even have a job. So I was stuck. I was like, man, I don't know what to do. My family's steady asking me like, hey, like what are you gonna do? Like what are your plans? And I'm just like, I'm applying for jobs, but everybody shut down because of COVID, so I really don't know what to do. So
Mhm.
luckily one day my boy Ryan hit me up out the blue, out of nowhere, and was like, yo, it's like, what's going on? How's everything been going with your school, with your degree and everything? And I was like, bro, like I'm close to graduating, but I don't know what I'm gonna do, bro. I feel like I'm just wasting my time getting my degree. And then that's when he was like, bro, he was like, have you ever thought about Amazon? He was like, I just got hired on Amazon, and with COVID coming through, the company is really building, and they're gonna need a lot of support. And with you being in sports management, I'm pretty sure that will, help you to get into the door. So I was like, man, I never thought of that. I never even had the idea of even working for Amazon. But I was like, you know what? I have nothing else to lose. Let me try it. So
Mhm.
I put in the application. He prepped me for everything that I needed to know. And long story short, I ended up getting through the interview process. He supported me with the interview. I ended up getting through the interview process, and I ended up getting hired. It was an entry level management job in Southern California, so that's what allowed me to transition from Mississippi to California. So I say that to say, again, you never know who you may meet along the road that can change your life forever. So I always show my appreciation to Ryan, or try to thank Ryan every time I talk to him, because honestly, I feel like if it wasn't for him, being there for me and presenting that opportunity, and then supporting me with getting through that opportunity, I probably wouldn't even be in California, and I would probably, still be in Mississippi, or life is weird. It could have gone somewhere else, but I do thank you for putting me on, and providing me with the opportunity. And again, like you said, make sure you're having the right people in your corner, because
Mhm.
it's you have some teammates or some former friends where they can get put on a job, and they see that there's other opportunities for people to get put on, and they won't say anything, they won't mention it, but you definitely saw the opportunity and was like, look, like this is what's going on. Amazon is booming right now. Like, if you want to continue your growth, get you some experience as a manager within a really good company, here's the opportunity. So I jumped on it, and the rest is history. So that's my success
Oh
story
yeah.
for today is changing the negative of me not getting drafted, pursuing my master's degree, again getting hit by COVID, not being able to find jobs, and then it's like God sent Ryan to me. It was like, hey, this job is available. Go forward. We put in the work of preparing, study for the interview, and now we're here. So again, I gotta
Yeah.
appreciate you for that, man.
And I appreciate you because that right there helped me get to where my vision and my true goal in life is to help hundreds and thousands of people get to where they want to go in life by any means necessary through like hard work and integrity. So, and I did not know that was what I wanted to do until
Mhm.
like I was just helping people. I'm like, hey, you need this, you need this. I'm like, whatever. So as soon as I learned something, I just have to teach somebody. And that was in baseball. That somebody, I remember when the person who taught me how to play outfield, his name was Mike Cameron. He played in the league for over 20 years. His son, he was on my team. His name's Daz Cameron. He's in the league now. But as soon as I was taught how to play outfield, I went to my friends on my other teams. Like, hey, this is what you got to do. This is how you get better. This is how you do. That's just and I didn't know that was what my gift and my like really my vision was until just helping people. And I appreciate you tremendously because not people are receptive to the teaching and the helping out. You know?
All right. No, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. So no, that was definitely a mutual feeling of supporting each other. All right,
Oh
so
yeah.
we'll go into another topic. I felt like that was good. I felt like we hit some good points on that. All right, so next, or I guess transitioning into the next topic, we could talk more about leadership and mentorship. So I guess this is something that comes naturally for you, or may come naturally because you said that you feel like whenever you learn something, you feel obligated to teach others or show others. And I feel like I'm the same way as well. Like I feel like you're doing a disservice to yourself and humanity when you hold on to game or to gems or to information and knowledge that because like yourself, I'm the first one. Like when I find something out, I'm like, oh man, I gotta tell my boys about this. I gotta tell my people about this. Like I
Yeah.
gotta put them on. So kind of go a little bit more into detail about what leadership qualities are to you, or what qualities does a good leader possess, both as a player and in your current role. Like
Mm.
just break down to me what leadership or and mentorship is to you.
Yeah. Leadership, I was not born a leader at all. I was cultivated. Everything that my parents put into me, my teammates put into me, my coaches put into me, that made me become a leader. But I was not born a leader. But one thing I know for both sports and for my current role right now, people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mm,
And so that's all like that phrase right there is how I live and how I lead my team. And it's how I teach them. How can I be a good leader? I'm like, do you care about your people? Do they know that you care about them?
mm,
If you try to just give your knowledge, hey, I'm the smartest person in the room, and nobody's gonna listen to you. But if you're like, hey, how can I help you? And then you listen to somebody, they feel heard, and then you give them their knowledge. Same thing on the baseball field. If when I
mm,
first came from my JUCO in Florida at Chipola, it was a pretty big JUCO. Then I go to Alabama Southern, and then there's preconceived thoughts from other teammates. Oh, this guy's coming from Chipola. He's gonna think he's the big and bad, and I really didn't want to come out there just trying to teach everybody and show people because I wasn't. I was in the same place as ever. We're in the same spot. We're in
yeah,
the same group, but nobody would have listened to me if I just came out and like, hey, dear, you need to do this. You need to start doing this. Like you're not gonna listen to me. But I'm like, hey, I started getting a relationship. Like, hey, this is let's grind together. Let's work out together. Hey, tell me some things that you've done that I can get better because I want to get better.
yeah,
And I feel like that helped me become a leader, and just day to day being with people, and just doing things in the like leading from, not from in front, honestly, leading from behind a little bit. Like, you're pushing people, you're doing everything with them. I know Amazon right now, we just had the busiest week in the year. It's Prime
Wow.
Week, and we just did the most amount of sales in one day. And what my team needed, it was crazy. We were doing 12-hour shifts, but what my team needed, it was not me telling them what to do. It was just me, hey, cheering them on, doing it with them, sweating with them, and showing that I can be there. And that's all they cared about. We were very successful because of um, me not trying to tell everybody what to do, but just doing everything with them, and just showing how to do things. Also, on the baseball field, if you're not producing, you're not playing. So I can't say anything until I actually start showing some stuff on the field. We didn't have too much time together, but the times where I did do well was, in my opinion, is when we were grinding. That
Mhm.
was the first time in my life that I actually learned what grinding was, and that we were at the gym at 10,
Hey,
11 o'clock at night,
man.
working out and then playing basketball, and just like we were in the best shape of our lives. We were making stuff up, like making and just grinding, and that is what I believe leadership was, because you remember it was just me and you in the beginning, and then towards the end of the season, we had like about like five, six, like
Yeah.
sometimes like half the team there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't. The people don't want to feel left out, and they don't want to feel left behind. So once like they see leaders do things, and they start following that leader, hey, that person's being successful. Like when you started working out, like you started throwing harder. I mean, you were consistent. I mean, I was like, let's go, Jared. I'm a big cheerleader. I don't. I'm a huge cheerleader. So every time I saw Jared on the mound, it's because like I could see the hard work that he was doing off the field that nobody else was seeing. Only me and him at
Mhm.
11:30 at night. We're just grinding and just pushing. That, I believe, is what leadership was, and that pushed me to be a better leader because I had somebody in my corner that I could follow and things like that. So I do believe that leadership is just caring for others, people first before anything. We're and like as humans, we are relationship oriented people. Like, we have to be in relationships. If we're not, we are not going to succeed. We have to do things with people, and with that, there has to be somebody in charge, or have to be somebody to point to when things are in stress and things like that. And that's why I feel like in today's society where there's no leader or no father at home, there's no vision. And when there's no vision, the walls fall.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah. So yeah, that's what leadership and mentorship meant to me. And even I can move forward, like as I transition outside of baseball, I made sure that I had a mentorship. I went to a internship with this company. It's actually a church. It was called Sherwood Baptist Church, but it was a very big church. And one of the executive pastors, he just believed in me. He never does this, but he said, "Hey, would you like to be my intern?" And I sat with him the whole summer, and he introduced me to my first billionaire. I met a billionaire because of him. I was in rooms that should not have been in there without this person. I've been in board meetings at Coca-Cola, all these different things that I did was because of his mentor, and he taught me how a few things like being consistent, just reading books, just teaching me the things that he did, and showing me everything that he was doing, because he was doing everything that he was telling me to do. He's like, hey, wake up at 4, read these 2 books this week. And he would already have the book read, and he already have it written out and things like that. Or he's like, be organized, be here at this time, be here early, talk to these people. This is how you do this, how you should dress. I mean, literally every little thing that is necessary to become a good leader. That is that was given to me. And unfortunately, my father passed when I was in high school, so I didn't really have that once I was becoming a young adult. I was a kid, so I was being crazy back in high school, so I didn't. But when I was transitioning into where I need to be a man, I didn't really have that, and so I had a mentor to actually teach me that, and it was so amazing. And then once I transitioned into Amazon, I still kept a mentor. I made sure that because I'm in a corporate world, at a huge company, one of the biggest companies in the world. Everybody knows Amazon, and I
Right.
still needed someone to navigate. The person who helped me get the job, he became my mentor. The person who gave me everything that I gave Jared to get the job, he still became my mentor. So I do think it's always important to have a leader to follow, or like a mentor to give you the steps and the blueprint so that you won't make the small mistakes that everybody makes. And um, I think it's very important.
No, that's a good point, man. You hit on a lot of good topics, and I agree with you for sure. Like leader, definitely a good quality is being able to get in the trenches with the people that you're leading, but then also like you mentioned, continue to learn. Like a lot of
Hmm.
people feel like, oh, like once you're a leader, you feel like you can tell everybody what to do. You don't have to learn anymore. You don't have to listen anymore, and it's like the total opposite. It's like the more you're leading people, it's like now the more you got to learn, because now the more they're gonna come and ask you for help, ask you for support, ask you to solve these issues that they turn to the leader to solve. And it's like, if you don't know how to solve it, then how can you consider yourself a leader? But if you aren't constantly learning or
Hmm.
learning from other leaders or other mentors, then whenever the issues arise, it'll be tough for you to manage it and take care of it. So no, I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you on that. Like leadership is definitely still continuing to learn and even taking it to a next level. Like, okay, like now I got to learn even more, because now I got to have enough knowledge to provide
Mm.
to everybody that's going to come with me with an issue or with a problem or something like that. And then
Yeah.
also, like you said, they're willing to get in there and work with people. Or a lot of people look at managers, leaders as like, oh, like their bosses, they just point, tell you what to do. And like you said, it's hard to really get a good team out of that, because
Hmm.
they don't feel like you care. But if you're in there with them all the time, and they see that you're willing to work with them, you're willing to put in the hard work, you're willing to pull the heavy load, then they can kind of trust you and respect you more. Like, okay, like now he's not just here pointing fingers and telling me what to do. He's actually in here with me, he's actually out here with me grinding. So now that definitely, or I feel like signifies a good leader and showcases a good quality. So
Definitely,
I agree
definitely.
on that.
What type of mentorships did you have in growing up?
I had a few. I guess in the baseball world, I mention them all the time. Again, I mentioned them last episode. I always smile when I get a chance to mention them. I even had to reach out to him recently. So Kedrick Martin, nicknamed K9, was a left-handed pitcher out of Meridian, and again, he taught me a lot of the game that I know about baseball or about pitching, or or developing as a left-handed pitcher. And it didn't even stop there. So of course, he helped me get to college. He taught me the grind, the work ethic to continue to push and to continue to grow and excel. But recently, I had to reach out to him because we are working on building a travel ball team out here in Southern California in the Inland Empire. So we're working on building the Southern California Mad Dogs. So if anybody's listening, before the tryout day, we got August 6th coming up at Deer Creek Park. So if you are interested in joining the development team, we will have tryouts. But just as of recently, I had to reach out to him because he has an organization growing as well. He has a K Zone organization running out of Columbus, I want to say, but it covers a pretty big portion or a pretty big region of Mississippi. And his organization is growing pretty quickly. Like I try to follow him and keep up with him, and he has two teams, I want to say. And as of recently, they've been winning a lot of tournaments, placing first place. So He has a system, he has a blueprint in place, and again, he was already my mentor. So I'm like, hey, let me reach out, see, what his blueprint is, what he has going, and how can I implement it into my system and our structure that we're trying to build here in California. So, we talked on the phone for about an hour, maybe over an hour, and again, just exchanging information, exchanging knowledge, getting blueprints from him, getting best practices from him, and then seeing how we can implement it. So I definitely feel like that will help me get through the learning curve of building this team. Because again, this is my first team that I'm building under my brand, my organization, Mass Sports Management. So, I'm sure it'll be a lot of learning curves that I'm going to face. But, thankfully with him in my corner, he's provided me with a lot of, framework and blueprints to allow me to bypass a lot of the initial stress or initial, paperwork or framework that you have. He's giving me the structure, and then he's allowing me to tailor it or add the details or personalize it as much as I want to. So I would say that was probably one of the most recent opportunities where I use my mentor. And like I said, he's been a mentor for a long time in my life, not just on the business side, but the playing side as well. So uh,
Yeah, that's
I
good.
got to shout out to K9 every chance I get, man. He's again, like he's another one of those guys where if I would never met him or if I wouldn't have connected with him, I may not have I may not be where I am in life. I felt like him showing me what he showed me and coming back and really instilling the hard work, dedication, perseverance. It allowed me to get into college baseball, and then from there I used that to continue to grow, and then it allowed me to get to the Division 1 level, and it
Hmm.
allowed me to compete and showcase my talent, and even consider playing at the next level. So if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't even made it to college. So that's definitely I definitely recommend everyone seeking mentors or allowing people to support. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned, I'm a prideful person as well. I'm not quick to ask for help, but I've learned, like you said, over the years, especially recently, man, you can't do anything by yourself, or if you do, it's gonna make it a lot more stressful. It's gonna make it a lot tougher on you. But a lot of
Hmm.
times you can bypass learning curves or bypass barriers or obstacles by reaching out, getting with the mentor, and then they can show you, hey, this is where I messed up, this is what I did, and this is how it turned out. I wouldn't suggest you doing it that way. I would suggest you doing it this way. Again, you don't have to do it that way, but at least you have that insight and at least you have that information. So now it's like you don't have to go through the experience to get the information. Now you already have it and you can use it to set yourself up and minimize the barriers and issues that you face. So no, I
Yeah.
agree 100% on that.
Yeah. Mentorships become lifelong friendships.
All right. Brotherhood is everything, man. It's crazy. So we got a few more topics we'll hit before we wrap it up. But I feel like we got some good conversation going, man. I appreciate you hopping on. All right,
Oh
so
yeah.
let's talk about setting and achieving goals. I know you mentioned earlier that you're big on setting goals. You were brought up on making sure that you have clear goals set. So kind of talk to me a little bit more. Talk to everyone that's watching, listening, a little bit more about your approach to setting goals, your steps to setting goals, and like how does it look for you? Do you write them down? Do you put them in your notes? Kind of what does it look like for you as far as like setting your goals and when you achieve them, how do you go about that?
Oh yeah. So that's a couple things. I wish I had the mindset of how about goals now that I had back in high school and college, but I always was had goals and things like that, but I wasn't it wasn't clear, it wasn't concise, it was just all over the place. But a couple things that I did when I was playing sports. My uncle, he's one of my mentors, gives me so many books to read. And one book that he gave me was it's like investment. His name was Grant Cardone, 10x rule. And so
I've
like just the 10x, like 10x your mindset, 10x your goal setting. So like what I did when I was in at Alabama Southern and other schools after that was I started to write down my goals, but I would do crazy goals. I would do like, hey, I'm gonna bet 425 with 60 doubles and 30
Right.
home runs, and and I would just try to do things that was in my mind, it was impossible. I was like, man, why am I doing this? My uncle like, write it down. I'm like, this isn't good. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but like, if I didn't do that, I would have probably done maybe a fourth of that, and
Mhm.
not even gotten to that fourth. But like, because I was doing the specific things, I could even strive. No, I didn't get those 60 doubles, 30 home runs. I didn't get close to them, but it still expanded my mindset. And so doing that helped me get to where I am now. So, a couple things, the 10x, just doing things bigger. When I was preparing to ask my wife to marry me, I was saving up. And so I knew a specific how much the ring I was going to do, but I was like, no, I need to have a savings point of this. And I was like, I'm not going to buy this ring until I get to this point. And I was struggling. I was like, I got to where I could buy the ring, but I was like, no, I'm going to hit my goal, and I'm not going to stop until I get that goal because this is how much I care about it. And so if you put your passion behind your goals, you're going to get it no matter what, and there's nothing going to stop you. So, and one thing that I learned now that I teach my managers at work is having SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound.
Mhm.
If you don't have those, then your goals are it's like, hey, I want to lose some weight. Okay,
All right.
how much? Like, what's
How
your yeah,
about
exactly.
I win? Or, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I my best year was the year I left Alabama Southern. I went to Albany State. I mean, I was killing it. I had like, and the most important thing that I did that year was I wrote everything down and I set goals and I checked in on those goals. I didn't forget about it. That's one
Mhm.
thing at Alabama Southern. I wrote those like 60 home runs and stuff, but then I just didn't think about it until like the end of the season. I didn't do it, but like I was checking in on my goals on a daily basis. I still have the composition notebook. I would write down my daily goal of the day. I would write down what I ate, how I felt, how I did everything. Like one day, I remember looking at it a couple months ago. I'm like, man, this day was great. I had 3 home runs, and that was at Payne University. I had egg whites that morning with some spinach and some rice, and I had like some boiled eggs. I'm like, oh, I need. That's how I felt, and I need to get back to that. And that's one thing that I really tell people or athletes now is to write everything down, to set a goal and check in on those goals and make sure that you have somebody cheering on you.
Mhm.
I have a little cousin. He's not little anymore. He's a big 220-pound linebacker that does a dual sport that plays lacrosse and football in college up in Boston. I think he's interning at Boston College this summer. But what I told him was like, hey, if you want to be the best football player, you got to write stuff down. You can't be a dumb football. You got to use your mind. You got to have specific goals that you can go to, and that's what I tell everybody. And once I started doing that, that was the year I was all conference um, at Albany State. I got, I think, athlete of the year that year. I got a lot of
Wow.
things that don't mean anything now, honestly, but like it was so many things, and it was because I wrote stuff down. And then the year after, first day of fall baseball, our coach gives a whole. He drops a container down and just started passing out booklets. He's like, "Start writing down." And I was like, "Hey, I already got mine." And I was
Yeah.
the only one that had a different color book because I was already in that mindset and I was already writing it down. He saw me doing it, and I was like, "Nope." I was like, "Hey, on the this pitcher, I remember facing the same pitcher that I faced 10 games ago." I was like,
Yeah.
he threw me 3 curveballs straight, then a fastball, and he did the same thing, and I literally would get hits, and I was like, it was so, it felt so easy after
Mhm.
that. Yeah, so I do think writing your goals down, being specific, striving for something that you wouldn't even normally strive, that will help. I remember in our workouts, one of our big goals we were trying to get was I was trying to get to bench 300. You remember that?
Yeah, bro. Man, used to throw weight around, but we would get in there, warm up like 225, like rep out like 15. I'm like, bro, like we didn't
Yeah.
even warm up yet. Like,
Yeah, I was like, I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to do that because I was at a specific, and I was gonna just go in there and do it.
yeah.
And you were like, you got this today. You got this today. I didn't have it. I'm like,
Hey,
but
one for the
because of that, I had the mindset that I was already doing it. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting it today. I'm getting it today. I'm getting it today. So like, I think it's important to like have mindsets of doing things that it's unthinkable because Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, people would have thought he was crazy. They were crazy, but they were thinking outside of the box. If you are always in a straight box, you're not going to do anything. If you
Mhm.
do, if even if like anybody's listening to me right now, like if you do everything that Ryan says, you're only going to be in Ryan's box. You got to do more things. You got to come up with some stuff. You got to think. You got to have different goals and just be unique and be you. And yeah, that's one thing that I've learned, and something new that my boss actually just taught me. He came over from FedEx. He was a high ranking person, and he always everywhere he went, and every new manager he had under him, he would tell them 6 things. He's like, do these 6 things, and you'll be successful. He's like, you have 100 tasks every single day, but if you do these 6 things, you'd
Mhm.
be good. And so, like, I bet you if you could, you could probably break down pitching into 6 things. If you do this, if you follow through, if you stay on top of, like, if you break it down, somebody will be consistent,
Mhm.
consistent, consistent. And so, like, that's one thing that I've been doing now is like, hey, focusing on a few things, and just everything else is noise. You know what I
No,
mean?
okay, no, that's some good insight. And that's definitely good. To give back, especially to younger players, is documenting, what's going on and taking notes and writing those goals down. And kind of similar to what you talked about, the best that I felt as an athlete or a pitcher, the most consistent I felt was the fall of my senior year, and like it was crazy. Like I felt amazing. Like every outing I was going at, I felt clear minded. I felt consistent. Velo was there. Everything felt easy. And like you mentioned, what I was doing, I had goals set down of what I wanted to obtain or reach for the fall. And then every day I would, or every night I would journal what I went through or what I did that day to propel me to that goal. And it was crazy, like just my mindset, how clear I was able to think, the confidence that, I had built, and it was amazing. And that's when, I really felt like I had that opportunity to play at the next level because I was starting to receive some attentions from the scouts. I was starting to get inquiries like, hey, who's this lefty, running the upper 80s, low 90s, like who is this guy? And I was really, opening eyes. And then I felt like that Christmas break, I kind of broke that cycle and I allowed myself to lose that consistency
Mm.
and get out of that consistency. So then whenever the spring season came around, I wasn't in that routine. I wasn't as consistent as I was with journaling, and then it reflected in my play. I wasn't as consistent with my outings. I didn't feel as confident as I did in the fall, and in that time, I really didn't understand what it was because I mean, I'm hyped up about the season. I'm like, okay, I got my goals in my head. I know what I'm gonna do. I
Mhm.
wasn't journaling as much because now we're traveling from place to place. You staying in a hotel with your teammates, and I'm prideful. I got a little ego to me, so I'm like, I don't want to be sitting around journaling. Around teammates. They gonna think I'm writing in a diary or something. So I lost that consistency, and then it translated on the field as well. So if
Right.
I could go back and tell myself, hindsight 2020, like, hey, like stick to that routine, stick to that consistency of journaling every day, of writing those goals, checking in those goals,
Mhm.
writing down what you did every day, because it just took my mental to a different level, took my confidence to a different level, and I was clear minded about what I was doing, and I didn't feel as stressed, or I didn't feel the lack of confidence that I would feel sometimes during the spring season. So
Yeah,
Uh, and I,
why do you think we do that as like athletes? Like, I don't want to journal because I don't want people to think or like, hey, like, you have a proven plan or
Mhm.
and somebody teaches you do this or like and you stray away from it and then like why do we do that? Like, what is in our head? What is so like it's like you said earlier like pride, but like what else is it?
I don't know, that's a tough one. I guess just well, I guess with athletes, just the masculine persona that they try to
Be the
portray.
guy.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like you want to be that guy, the big, the most swole dude, the strongest dude. You know, just testosterone going crazy. And then whenever
Hmm.
it comes to things like that, like using your brain, really tapping into your emotional side, your mental side, your
Hmm.
spiritual side, I feel like some athletes or me or younger or myself whenever I was younger, I would look at that as okay, like that's not masculine, that doesn't represent a tough athlete or a
Hmm.
tough being. So it was like I didn't want to showcase that because I wanted to portray myself as this tough confident athlete when to be a tough confident athlete you got to really be tapped into your mind as well. You got to be conscious and you got to understand how your body works or how your brain works or how your thought process works. And if you don't write stuff down, if you don't read, if you don't
Hmm.
communicate your feelings, then you won't be able to reach your full physical potential. So I felt like for me that was I just wanted to be this, tough, strong, hard throwing guy. And, I didn't want anybody seeing me reading or writing or journaling. And, again, it came back to bite me because if I would have stayed consistent, if I would have, kept the routine that I had in the fall, things could have been different. But again, I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason.
Hmm.
Everything happens the way it's supposed to. So now I was able to learn from it, and then now my job and my purpose is to give that back to the younger players and athletes to say like, hey, if something's working for you, if you're consistently doing something, don't fall off. And then another thing, just to kind of stray away from it, success can be a killer of that consistency. Because then I felt like maybe I got a little complacent. I had a good fall. Uh, again, like fall season isn't the spring season, but it draws a lot of attention. And then in that season, like I had a pretty low ERA, high strikeouts, low walks, and I was kind of feeling myself. I'm like, oh, like I may have gotten it figured out. And then you learn
Yeah.
quickly with baseball, you never figure it out. Like
Yeah,
it
once you think you figure it out, you struck out.
yeah. So that's one thing that I felt like I had to learn to really instill in my younger players now is like don't let success, kill your consistency or kill your routine or kill your grind because it's easy to be like, oh, I went 3 innings, no runs, 6 Ks. I'm not gonna go work out. I'm gonna go chill today. Or I'm not gonna journal it. I can remember it in my head. That's a good day. I'm not gonna journal it. And then then you start losing that consistency, you start losing that routine, and then now whenever
Hmm.
you go point 1 inning, 4 walks, a hit batter, now you're like, oh, how do I get back to where I was, how do I get back to where I was? And if you don't stay consistent in that routine, then it's really hard to get back to. So
Yeah,
I
for
guess
sure.
that's one of my stories of struggle stories of what younger players should not do.
Yeah.
All right, so we coming up toward the end of the podcast, so we'll go into one more topic and then we'll wrap it up. Last thing, talking about your post-athletic career, like transitioning into the position you're in today. Uh, how was it transitioning? What do you feel like helped you be successful in your transition? And what advice do you give for other players, maybe coming up on the end of their playing career, looking to transition into the work world, corporate world, or business world? What would what advice would you give to them?
My first and foremost advice is take control of your life and what you do. I hear too many people, too many students. They're, hey, my coach signed me up for these classes. I'm like, why? Why is your coach signing you up for your classes? This is your career. You're paying this money. You should be doing everything. That's one thing. I remember when I first got to my freshman year, they put me in all these classes that every athlete was in,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, no, I'm going to be out of here. I'm going to get my degree in the same amount of time that I want to get my degree. I'm focused, and that's what I need to do. So I was clear on that. I never missed class. The only time I missed class was when we had games. I don't understand how anybody could go to college and pay all that money and then miss a class. Be just be focused. I tell like just everybody, just show up. That's all you got to do is just show up to class. You might learn something. You might actually like it. Me going to class actually changed my life. I had a different major. I changed my major because of one teacher in one class. Like he literally changed my mindset. We did a problem, and he's like, "Hey, you want to know how much?" He told our class it was a specific logistics problem, and he's like, "You want to know how much I made off of this problem?" And it took me 3 months. I was like, "It took you 3 months to do this?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I made $75,000 off of this one. And he's like, I was like, "What?" I was like, tell me that is 100%. You're not lying, and I'll change my major right now. And he was like 100%. And then he showed me all his different contracts that he has coming up, and I changed my major that day. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was just making sure that I was doing whatever I need to do um, to get to where I wanted to go. I knew I was going to be successful by any means necessary. If that was in baseball, or if that was in sports, I did not miss class. I was attentive. I was clear. And when I got to Albany State, there were so many things that are offered in these big schools that I'd never like. We were at Alabama Southern. We didn't have nothing. We had welding, and we
Trade,
didn't
trade.
have anything that actually can like help you with. But we had like Amazon people coming to our school, teaching us. And but one thing, we always had practice. Oh, we can't go because I gotta go practice. I'm like, no. I'm like, hey, coach, I know practice is here. I'm gonna be 30 minutes late. I'm going to meet Amazon, and I promise. If I go to my coach, Coach Hemmings, right now, this is exact word that I said to him. Like, I'm not coming to practice. I'll be 30 minutes practice late, and it was right before a big conference game. I was like, I'm going to meet Amazon. He's like, okay. That's all he did. And he'd make it, and I was like, I'm taking two of my classmates. They're going to be graduating. They need to be in there. And he's like, all right. He was happy. He was actually like, that was the most proud he's been because people miss class because they told the teacher, hey, I can't come because I got practice. Like I made sure that I was focused on what I was doing, and that's what I hoped. I was actually the president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee at Albany State, and I made sure to get with my athletic department and give the opportunities to the athletes because we miss everything. We can't do anything because it's a whole job. Some people are working extra jobs on top of athlete and school. We don't have time for stuff. So I was like, hey, we cannot. A lot of people are not going to make it pro. A lot of these people, we need to make sure it's setting their life up. And
Yeah.
so when I said that, I was stern. I was like, I don't care if I'm the athlete of the year this year, but I know for a fact that I'm going somewhere after here, and Albany State is not the end all be all for Ryan McClendon, and I'm going to do this. And because of that, now the athletes are the first people that go to everything. So when Google comes to the campus, they stop at the athletic department first, and they
Mm-hmm.
ask. That's what they want. That's what Amazon. When I was in my interview, the first thing they asked me was about baseball. Hey, tell me about a time you did. I'm like,
Yeah.
you want to know about baseball? I'm like, here, like, I can tell you about my athlete. Like, no, I want you to know because they want to see like athletes. They go through so much, and they want to see how
Right.
smart you are. And so I'd say get get clear of where you want to go and stick to it. And I know, like, and also there's no plan A, no plan B. Just grind in everything you do. And so that's what I did. And 100%. When I got into my master's program, I was I didn't have any money. I was paying. I was finishing baseball. I was paying out of pocket, and I was working part time. I literally was. I need to grind. I Nobody would give me a job because I was still in my master's program, and that was uh,
Yes.
dumbfounded me. I'm like, hey, you can help me. But so what I did, I applied to 20 jobs a day, every single day until I graduated. And because of that, one of those jobs that I applied for was Amazon. I actually applied to Amazon 76 times. If you go to my Amazon job posting, you can see all the jobs that I posted that I applied for when I was in college. And like I'm laughing at it now because I'm looking at all this stuff, but I was so focused. I was like, I gotta succeed, and I still could have played baseball. My friends, they were like, "Hey, there's an opening spot on um, this pro league." I'm like, "Nah, I'm going to be doing what I'm going to do." But that my post athletic career transition was difficult for me because I'm very competitive oriented,
Mhm.
and I like structure as well. So once I got into Amazon, I was a yes sir, like there was, I was like, yes, sir, I'll do whatever it like takes. But one thing I wish I did not take from baseball was to have my own mind and my thought. So like now I'm in a manager role that I cannot just do exactly what my manager tells me to do every time because um, we're an innovative company, and if you do the same thing, you're not gonna grow. So I need to have my own opinion and my own voice. That's what I learned my first year. One of Amazon's leadership principles is have a backbone,
Yeah.
disagree, and commit.
Mhm.
I would just say, like, I would have opinions. I would just say, okay. I'm like, this is not a smart idea, but all
Mhm.
right, I'll just do it. But I wouldn't voice my opinion, and
Right.
because of that, everyone told me that. The next year, that was in 2020. In 2021, I was saying no to everything. I was like, no, that's not it. We're not doing that. I would literally say that to my site lead, to anybody. I'm like, hey, this is not smart. We need to do this. And because of that, that gained me the respect, and everyone trusted me even more so. And they were like, oh, this guy's a leader. He can speak out.
Right.
He's not afraid. And I was like, yeah, I'm not dumb. I have all these things. I can help you get to where you want to go.
Uh-huh.
So that's one thing that I learned, and I kind of wish I'd used that in baseball because
Yeah.
some things I'm like, hey, coach, this is not a smart idea, but we could have, I could have like been more successful if I voiced how I truly feel, and that's one thing I learned, and I learned really quick, is to be me and be like don't apologize for that. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's how I've transitioned into like the leader I am now, and I'm still growing. I still make mistakes all the time,
Right.
but I'm not afraid to make that mistake anymore. That's the thing.
That's deep. That's deep. Yeah. We're gonna make mistakes, but you can't be afraid to make mistakes. That's deep. And I was similar track as you, bro. Like again, transitioning into the corporate world, like you said, coming from sports, you're always taught to, don't disrespect your coach, don't talk back to your coach, whatever it is that the coach suggests or wants you to do, you go forward with it. And whenever you carry that mentality into a corporate world, like you said, they'll eat you alive. Like once they realize, oh, like they can get by with something, they gonna test it. And I had to learn that pretty quick too. Like, hey, like you need to have a backbone and let them know, like, okay, I understand your viewpoint, I understand your opinion, but this is my department, this is my team, this is how I'm gonna lead them,
Mm,
this is what we're gonna do, and if it works, boom, you look good. If not, your team will still like you because you stood up for them, and you let them know that you have their best interest in mind, and you'll be willing to you know go against someone of a higher power or something, and that really helps build trust and
yeah,
uh and gain value in your team too. So no,
yeah.
I definitely that one.
You remember how many times I changed my batting stance? You remember that, bro? That's crazy. Like that's what I mean about like disagreeing and committing. Like I understand that you're the boss. That I'm not playing, but like I
Uh,
need to be me no matter what. And that wasn't even just Alabama. So that happened at Travel Ball, East Cobb Yankees. I mean that happened at Chipotle. I mean it happened everywhere in my career, and it's because everyone thought that their way was the best way, and it should have been they helped me find my own way. And
yeah,
that's when I tell if you could tell all your players, like
Mhm.
is to be their own person, find it out on their own, but ask for help and but like and trust your gut. Like, hey, I'm like, this is not it. Bro, I'm thinking about how I used to bat. Like, I haven't thought about it. I'm like, man, that was dumb. Bro, like, that have a backbone, disagree and commit. Because like, and then also the people you have to like in that disagree and commit. Sometimes you are wrong. Sometimes
Mhm.
you can disagree, but you have to voice your opinion. Hey,
Right.
I respect you, Coach, Coach Scott. I respect you. I really don't agree with this, but this is your team and this is your time. So I'm going to do exactly what you're going to say because I trust that you have more knowledge than me. But then you let them know if this isn't working, we're going to have to reconvene and like have like a set meeting and hold people accountable. I mean, kids don't hold adults accountable. Adults don't know anything. Yeah, but
Mhm.
that's all I got to say about that.
I feel it. I feel it. We'll go ahead and wrap it up, man. I think we're right at an hour mark, so we got some really good content in, some really good dialogue and conversation. And again, I appreciate you for jumping on, man. This was a good episode. I'm sure I'll go back and rewatch it just from game that you spit, and hopefully, the younger athletes are watching and can write down some notes or take away something, or even if you're not an athlete, just somebody that again is looking for the motivation, inspiration. Hopefully you could get something from us or get something from what my boy Ryan said, and just take it in and apply it into your everyday life, and hopefully see the growth and see the development. So again, much appreciated. Thanks for joining me, man, and dropping the game, taking time out of your day and your schedule, and taking care of your beautiful family. So I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Well, again, thanks everybody for tuning in with Play to Win Mindset. This was another episode. I have my boy Ryan with me, Jared Scott, and we should have some more coming to you again soon. So thanks for tuning in, and catch you on the next one. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, let us know more of what you want to hear, any ideas, what you want to talk about, whatever. Just let me know. All right. Peace.